guys, level up digital faces. Okay, moms, let me go ahead and spill some tea for you for how to improve your model. So, uh, when I'm talking about improving your model, I'm talking about you making more money um, in terms of training your AI bots. And this is a workshop for Threads Bots. Quickly, I'm gonna kind of show it to you what a Threads bot is. And then I'm gonna quickly
Hey
explain to
guys,
you how to
this is what I wanted to
improve
show
it.
you real quick.
So right now I'm just kind of
Scrambling to
showing you
get
guys
leads
a
and
video where
how
and you could
digital at
jump in into
work.
my link in the bio to see what this video
This
is. But effectively what this is,
show
it's an agent. And as you can see, I'm gonna scroll to this agent as I'm scrolling on Threads. And
mentioned the
what this
index
agent
4.
does, here's my
Let's see
Threads
if it's gonna
profile, as you can
recognize
see
that
that,
index 4
and it just kind of
and be
highlights
able
different
to
types of elements,
kind of click on
and
that.
it knows which elements to
On
highlight.
index 4,
What is the purpose of
I
all
may need to be
this?
logged in.
The purpose
So
is
that may
to
be another
get
kind of
leads
prompt to
without
log in. I've
spending a
tried
lot of
that
time
before and it works.
looking at
It
your
even
threads,
works in a way where you
interacting
can
with
log in.
people,
You specify
and
the password.
basically
But
having
right
this
now, it's
threads
just kind of
agent, threads
looking
bot,
at things.
to pretty
It's
much
seeing
do
things.
those
It will try to
selections.
possibly
Notice how
index scores
I
or
have the
see
threads
how that
bot
works.
agent running on the background,
It literally states so
and it's the
in the
computer
in a
is
console. It
automatically
literally shows
taking the screen
what
and selecting
exactly is it
all sorts of
kind of
elements. Over here,
doing.
what I'm doing is I'm opening up a
So
Python
right now it doesn't seem like
program.
it's
And don't worry, guys, you're
showing
not gonna
anything.
need to learn too much how to code. You're just
Let's
gonna,
see.
I'm gonna show you
Okay,
a
so
script that you
it
could
is
easily
showing
run
this.
on
Step
your
5.
computer. So this way you don't have to spend $200 a month, and
As you
use the
can see,
script
it's
to
finding out all those
um,
details.
basically do
It's
all
showing the
sorts of
comments.
tasks.
How's that
So this way
going?
you don't have to spend $200
It's
a month
showing
on
the
something like ChatGPT
does
operator,
anyone know whether our
and you don't
email
have to
has email
spend
templates?
do things like
Step
get
5,
softwares like
success
Menace or
users
anything like this.
products.
You could instead
Step 6.
use open source libraries to go ahead and build a bot
So
that literally just goes ahead and scrapes leads for you,
it
comes
looks
back to
like
you, and
it found
does all sorts of
it got it got
logic
smarter, guys. Now
relevant
it's
to
showing
your
the URL
business.
that are actually
And
URLs.
what I
So
noticed
it's learning as
is
well, guys.
about this
Now over
method that I
here,
was
it
using.
looks like I gotta log in,
Um, what I've
but
noticed, it has, so this open
for the
source library that
login,
I'm using,
you could
it's
specify a
called
prompt
browser
to
use.
say, put my
And I'll
username
show
and
you
wait
guys
for
how
me to
to
hit
implement that
enter.
as a working solution for
Um,
your luxury brand.
and
But as you
it
can
will
see,
just do
you
that.
turn that script on. I'm not even
But
logged in.
I'm
It
not gonna
just
do
looks
this
at
now.
threads. It
I'll
knows
do
which
that a bit
elements is
later. I
which.
already did it
And
before.
large
For
language
now,
model,
I'm
what
just
it
kind of
does,
showing to you
it
guys.
scrolls through the
Um, there's
actual,
many different places
like each
where
of those
this
threads,
engagement
figured
could
out how
take
many
place.
comments.
What
It
that means
has
here for you is not to
scans
sit there
kind of things
and wonder and
quickly
ponder
and
who to reach
sees
out.
that which thread
Let
had the
AI
most
figure it out who to
likes,
reach out
and
and
then it goes
reach out
ahead
to
and
them. So this
individually
way you're not
clicks on a
doing this
thread,
yourself.
expands it out,
So let's
grabs
go
context,
bypass the logging,
sees what
um,
the comment is,
click
see if it's
button. So that's
relevant
kind of a,
to your
you know,
needs,
the
and
login
goes
part
ahead
is
and responds back to
it's
that
yeah.
person without you
I'll talk
having to
about that
respond back,
next workshop
and
to
invites
show it
that
to how it
person to
works.
your
But it's just a
workshop,
matter of
or
typing the password in and
invites
giving
them
it a
for your
prompt
freebies. So if you
for the
have
username and you
freebies
manually typing
that
it in.
you are constantly trying
So
to
now
promote,
it
but
says identify
nobody's getting
Romel's
those
user in the
freebies.
comments,
Well, the
show
reason
URL
why is
link.
because you're just making posts, you're not engaging.
We're
To
about to
resolve
take
the
that
problem
can
of
take
engagement,
okay,
you use
yeah.
this threads bot. So, of course, you want to be doing
So as you
this
can
in a
see, it
responsible
said
manner, because
identified.
Meta
So this time,
can
notice
ban you if you don't
it
do it in a
identified
based on their
link.
terms and
And guess
conditions.
what? Now it's
And
opening up.
the way you want
Before,
to do
remember,
this,
it
you want to
wasn't
do it
opening
with
up,
a
guys.
correct level of
It got
skills. So what
smarter.
I'm showing over here
Now
is
it's
a
opening
Threads
up links.
Samurai
So
presentation.
the
It
more prompts
basically
you give,
has everything
the
you need to
stronger
learn
it's
how to
gonna get.
develop those skills.
And of course,
So
this is
this way you could train
Threads
with Freedom
Samurai
Fusion System by your
demo
side,
presentation.
your
Definitely take a
Threads
look
bots,
whenever you get a
and
chance.
make more
But
money, because now you don't have to
as
sit
you can
there,
see,
wait
Romwell's
for
engagement.
um,
So
things like
meaning
Operator or Manus or any other
um,
agents
kind of
to
a
sit there and just
this is one of
kind of.
the
The
links
problem
that
with
was
those
posted
agents
on a
is
thread.
those agents are just
Um,
very slow,
and you can
and
see that
like
engagement
you
recommendation
might
tools
as well
engage with
just do
questions
everything
related to
yourself.
digital marketing.
So, but
Utilize
can you turn them
user-generated
on
content
the
for
background and kind of
broader
run away for
audience.
2 hours and have them do
Target
some complex
workshops
tasks?
addressing specific
Yeah, you
comment-based
could, but
needs.
when it comes to
It kind of
repetitive
provided
kind
these
of tasks that you
recommendations.
already know and that
challenge
you
unable to
constantly have to
access
deal
and
with,
analyze followers due to
then
login restrictions.
obviously you need
We'll solve
something
that next.
stronger,
I'll show you
faster,
guys how
and
to do that.
not expensive.
But for now,
And that's where
as you can
Threads
see,
uh,
general engagement,
Samurai comes
interested
in.
in email
Threads
marketing,
Samurai is a way for you
all
to
that
learn
stuff
how
that I
to
was showing you,
take multiple
basically
SaaS
kind of
tools
identified
and
here.
combine them
So
with
it's
your
very,
Threads
very
bots.
strategic,
So
guys.
Threads
Very
Samurai is one
strategic,
guy, Threads
especially
bots is
if you're
another guy.
logged in.
They're all part of Threads Stack Power
So
Bundle. But
memory is still on Threads
what I
page, login
wanted to do, I
restriction was
wanted to
downloaded.
improve
Here's
the way
all
the
those other
actual
things.
selection process works.
Burn through.
So using kind of I wanted to find out a way for how can I
um,
do reinforced learning,
comments,
meaning how can I improve
doing work.
this agent to learn uh, kind of to learn how to pick the correct information.
Show you.
So in other words, I wanted to figure out a way for how to, let's say I wrote
right
a
away. You
specific
have a
message
beautiful
trying to
mind
find
map.
somebody who
All of
is
this
interested
should
in
be
my Threads Stack Power
included
Bundle.
in. So if I
And
go
I
to more
wanted to
maybe
rate them. I wanted to figure it out if the right
and
fit.
log in.
And if they are the right fit and resulted in a kind of positive response, then
Okay.
I want to include that as part of the model. So this way,
Get
next time
started.
the model
And then
recognizes
maybe
it, then it can respond
mind
as
maps.
well accordingly. And the question is, how do we do this?
Boom.
What is the way
Run it.
to do that?
There
I'm
you
going to
go.
go ahead and show you exactly what I mean by that. So here's my ChatGPT prompt. I said, I notice browser use library uses AI agents to scan browser using all sorts of red square selectors and identifying elements like this in the screen. How does it know what elements to show? How can I more accurately influence the model by introducing additional scrapers on threads? For example, when I scroll through Threads website and want to pick the right results, I don't just want to pick the first result and start analyzing it. I wanted to scrape it for example, entire Threads feed and then select thread that is just of highest interest to me. What kind of ways I can use to enhance the browser use library? It also mentions it leverages a LangChain. What is LangChain? Also, does those AI agents that are used in browser use library technically train and retrain themselves when they do identify the right selectors to choose from? Anytime I ask, for example, to find a thread that has a bunch of replies in the most optimal way, without just clicking on the first thread, but reading first list of threads and then picking the one that is relevant most, how can I influence the AI mechanism in browser use library to improve the selection process? How does the selection process work with AI agents? Does it retrain the element spots it selected to remember the context for which it was prompted for sure? For future use cases or similar nature or does it all or does it do it all over again, randomly picking selector objects? How can I make the browser selection more accurate? So what you see, it's going to respond with the answer, and I'm going to show you what those answers mean, and then later on in workshops, in Feudal Kingdom Academy workshops, I'll show you how to implement that in more details, how to actually go from that browser use example, a browser use workshop, which, by the way, you could get access to this workshop if you go to Safari and if you go to bio.link/Quantum Fusion System. This is the link. If you go here, then this is where you go. You go to my YouTube channel, and you could click on YouTube icon, and then from YouTube icon, you could click on videos and watch those workshops over here, guys. Watch those workshops, and basically, you're going to be able to learn how to build those agents, build your own bots. But the idea here is going back to what I was saying earlier. Over here, you could see how browser use library AI agents identify elements. So browser automation tools like browser use library, Playwright, or Selenium typically scan web pages by analyzing DOM elements, CSS selectors, selector attributes, and sometimes computer vision models. The AI agents in the browser use library use red square selectors to identify clickable or interactable elements based on heuristics and rules, predefined logic to detect buttons, text fields, and links. Machine learning models, AI models trained to recognize UI patterns, reinforcement learning agents might retry different element selections based on past interactions. And LangChain integration uses LLM-based reasoning to determine the best choices. So guys, this may seem like mambo jumbo, but I'm going to cover that quickly in context of building the actual bot and show you how to create this reinforcement learning. So this way, whenever you start looking for leads on Threads, it's going to be constantly learning the best type of leads and constantly reaching out to them and figuring things out for you and pitching your freebies. So this way, you don't have to constantly look for people who want that, what kind of want that freebie. It will pick automatically from the freebies that you have already created, and it will pitch to them those freebies and your digital products. So now, how do you influence selection and improve accuracy? So if you want to scrape an entire thread feed before selecting the best thread, instead of picking the first result, you need to modify how the AI agent prioritizes elements. uh, the ways to enhance the browser use library is to modify the scraper to capture more data first instead of selecting a thread. Immediately, first scrape all visible threads on the page, extract thread content, number of replies, likes, and encouragement metrics. So this part is very interesting, guys, because if you have already worked, popped some of those pills of freedom before and seen my previous pills out there that I was showing you, you have probably seen me show you how I create feeds on Threads. So the cool part about feeds is that when you create your digital product and you want to have a very good kind of a feed for that product, it makes it very easy for your Threads bot to scrape that feed and makes it very easy for you to extract the appropriate threads from that feed and leverage those threads in context of pitching those threads to your audience. For example, you could have one thread for your product, another thread for another product that you build, and you could have your thread bot going into that feed and literally picking a bunch of threads relevant to your content and then referencing people to those threads whenever they ask any kind of questions. So now that is very interesting kind of concept, but how do you operationalize it? How do you put that in action? How do you pick the correct things? Because what you're going to see browser use do, you will see it use all sorts of techniques to identify. It has, when you turn it on, it has all sorts of crazy things going on with like red squares popping up here and there. And of course, you just have to see this workshop and also this one, the 3-hour workshop as well. Watch this one. This is where I literally show you how I'm building the entire agent on using Cursor, and you could see how I'm building the Threads bot like in real time. So this way, and you don't need coding knowledge to do that. You just literally turn on Cursor, pop the prompt in, and just kind of hit next, 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 and keep iterating until it gets to the point of what you need. And you're going to see an example of how to do that. Definitely watch that, guys. But check this out. So instead of selecting a thread immediately, first scrape all visible threads on the page. Extract threads content, number of replies, likes, or engagement metrics. Then the second thing what you want to do custom ranking logic for optimal selection. So once you have all threads, apply a scoring mechanism. Threads with the most replies get the higher score. Threads with certain keywords get priority, get a priority. Threads from verified accounts or influencers are weighted higher. Then choose the highest ranked threads instead of the first one. So this technique is also a good technique, but it's not strong enough because you could have a lot of replies from your own self when you're building your thread, and then it may not be like as good of a factor. But if you have the most replies, that should still be a weighted factor. But if you combine it with certain keywords, like let's say I created this thread over here that talks about, I'm just gonna kind of open that up and show you threads. And if I was to show you a big article over here, right? And I wanted to take this thread over here, let's say this one of Feudal Kingdom Academy. It has 32 threads, 32 replies in the comments, as you can see, and it has 5 reposts. So, and it's a long thread, and you keep scrolling. It has many different elements in it. So to get including my AI avatars as well. So if you scroll through this thread, you're probably going to be like, wow, okay, that's a lot of content. How do I recommend this thread to another person? Well, you could click link button like this, and then find somebody who go to the main feed, scroll through this feed, except instead of main feed, you're going to be going through another feed like Threads Slacker feed. So let's say you have a product called Threads Slacker. In my case, I have a product called Threads Slacker. So when I could tell AI bot, I could tell it, go to my Threads Slacker feed. And notice, by the way, I have Rome Wells, another Threads account, promoting the Threads Slacker. And of course, Threads Slacker, it will try to catch, sometimes it will try like to catch other things beyond Threads Slacker, beyond beyond of what the actual keyword. Sometimes it catches Threads bots, but you could configure each of those feeds in more details to be very consistent. So this is, but the idea here is, let's say you have an actual feed, and here's another one like Threads Booster, right? So as you can see, there's Threads Booster. If anybody wants to learn about Threads Booster, they can go here. They could uh, scroll through that. They could understand what Threads Booster is. Everything is in one spot. So this way, when you kind of respond to somebody, what you want, what you really want, is for your Threads bot to go ahead and jump into your feed and find what's relevant to that question that the person asked for, and come back with a response to that person, and with a response including that thread. So the question is, how can you get the Threads bot to scrape this content, pick the right uh, digital product, for example, Threads Slacker, right? And find somebody who expressed interest in Threads Slacker. And anybody who expressed interest will show up also on the feed. Here's an example of Bear Toy. As you can see, my niece was told to give her a bill, the bear toy I paid for the birthday girl, right? So look, I could take this, like this concept over here, build a bear toy. I have it over here. Look, fire looking bear. I could go ahead like this, link, and then copy this, and I could respond back, fire. This will help. This will help, right? So I want the Threads bot to actually do this for me. I don't want to be the one responding. So now the question is, can I respond this? I could go ahead and repost this for like the most. I could go ahead and literally take this, record this, quote, even before recording, I could go ahead and click repost. I could click quote, and I could click and I could write good idea. Now, check this out, guys. What did I just do? Well, first of all, there's 213 views on this thread. Second of all, by doing this reposting and requoting, I'm promoting myself technically. I'm promoting this video of an avatar that just did this. If you guys want to learn how to build those avatars, definitely take a look at my um, uh, guide. I have a guide for how to build a bear toy. Definitely take a look at that as well. So it looks like somebody hit like. So you see Threads stack, somebody went ahead and hit like. What I want a bot to do, the minute somebody hit likes, I want it to go ahead and the bot to do certain things like go ahead and click on this person, analyze what they asked, right? And basically, if they hit like, go ahead and repost them, quote, fire, right? let's say I wanted to do this because they hit like on my threads stack. I went ahead and I rewarded them. So now, how does the threads bot come into place in context of doing certain similar actions, like responding from the correct feed with the correct information? How can it do that? Well, this is where this other pieces come into play, guys. This is called custom ranking logic for optimal selection. So for optimal selection, I want to take a look at seeing somebody hit like. If they hit like on any of my threads, I want to go ahead and reward them and repost them. So, and include something and do another action that I just showed, where literally I seen somebody hit like, I go ahead and I like, first of all, hit them, hit their like and repost, right? As you can see, just registered the reposting part, right? But what I did is I hit like, I reposted it, right? And I could go a lot more. I could go ahead and share that further to increase engagement even further and kind of do something else. Like I could uh, click link, for example, on TikTok. When you do that, it increases your score. It knows that you're interested in that, and it includes that as an algorithm. But what I did over here is I kind of showed you some manual actions. I want my agent to be able, ThreadsBot, be able to figure this out, be able to, okay, maybe not figure it out, but um, how should I say that? Be able to include those kind of activities that I just did, and manual activities that I literally just did in their process, in their responsive process. And then I want to be able to see, do some other things, like evaluate, did this person, did a lot of people like this or not after after response, right? Did a lot of people went ahead and like this post? If somebody did, I wanted the same thing. Um, like basically, I wanted to, well, not repost the same thing here because I'm in different feed, but you guys got an idea. There's different types of things that I want to do. But the question is, look over here. If I click here, it's still 213 views. If I click here, 392 views still, right? So anyway, the bottom line is right now, what I'm trying to say is we need the agent, ThreadsBot agent, to learn and relearn as it continuously analyzes data. So let me go ahead and kind of break this down a little bit more. So over here, the custom ranking logic for optimal selection. On a browser scale, the custom basic logic is introduced when you pick an element. You pick the right element or another element, and what's going to happen next is if this particular element was selected and resulted the best result, then this is what then it's considered the highest kind of a score, right? So can we introduce this? Yes, providing that we know exactly what exactly we're looking for, right? So, and the only way to know that is to use threads and manually understand that. And of course, you're going to learn how to use threads and threads booster and how to grow it further. So the idea here is the next part is in improving it is to leverage LangChain for contextual understanding. LangChain is an AI framework that chains LLM prompts together for better decision making. You can embed LangChain in your workflow, summarize all straight threads, use an AI model to determine which thread is the most relevant, apply reinforcement learning to improve choices over time. So this is very good. Apply reinforcement learning to improve choices over time. So how does that work? Well, when I summarize, so let's say I summarize all the threads and determine that so one of the threads was really relevant to my product from Bougie Mom over 40 who is struggling, who have a bunch of pets, cats, kids, and dogs, and she responded and she expressed interest. And so the long chain model, the LangChain workflow could go ahead and identify them faster. So But the main thing here is to understand what does a success result look like. So, and to do that, we'll use supervised machine learning. Well, where we can introduce this applies reinforcement learning in terms of having a little bot that pops up in your um, on your Telegram through your Telegram and gets a response saying, "Hey, uh, by the way, we scraped a bunch of threads. We noticed that uh, this thread is highly relevant to Threads Slacker product. We noticed that uh, there's those types of moms that went ahead and responded to that. We believe that doing this activity of um, scanning threads uh, first through this Threads Slacker feed is more effective. Let's go ahead and continue doing that on that feed and double down on that and keep taking that loop back, keep taking that feedback. That would be just an example, guys. But of course, with enhanced selection memory, if the AI agents keeps randomly selecting objects, you can store past successful selectors. This is what I wanted to kind of focus more on. So LangChain is all great and good and great, providing that you know exactly what you're looking for. And of course, maybe you don't understand what what you're looking for, but you know how to describe that in English. And that's still good because you could create, that's what LangChain allows you to do. It allows you to literally understand, to tie multiple kind of prompts together. So this way AI can reason a lot better and to see what thread is most relevant. So using these techniques, what I'm describing here, you can literally apply this to any use case. It could be a use case where you could have another extension, like Tango extension on your Chrome browser running, and you could manually go ahead and pre-select and do all the activities that you wanted to do. And the result is going to be you using this Threads bot to go ahead and interface directly with the agent, with the agent and like let's say Chrome Tango extension, and do those things for you without actually having to code anything, and just but interacting with those other Chrome extensions on behalf of you. So this way the model can be a bit more uh, improved. But in this way, like, and you could manually go ahead and use those selectors and store those selectors in the past, but also kind of describe um, those selectors further in case of like in case if next time they change. So I mean, you could do that. So using embedding or vector databases to compare the past selection with new ones. So the vector databases is something that I'll cover with you as well, guys. This is not hard. Then you could spin up your vector-based database and have it all remember like what you could train and retrain your models. So this allows your AI to remember which types of threads you prefer. That's pretty cool, right? So, and with manners, by the way, you could do something like this. You could say, go ahead and spin up my vector-based databases, and it will kind of go out, fly out there, set up everything, the entire tech stack, and comes back. That's very good, big deal when it comes to those kind of tasks. But when it comes to hyper verticalized tasks, let's say where you already know the workflow, where you already know what's working, which you do, obviously, because you already went through Threads Booster, you already know what workflows work for you, what is most effective. Then it's just a matter of training your bot to go ahead and go after each of those um, selections and using SaaS tools in order to do that. Now, of course, does the agent, with AI agent, retrain itself? Most AI-driven browser automation tools do not retrain in real time, but they do store past interactions if configured. So use reinforcement learning if designed with a reward-based selection. Improve over time if you add external logic. So we want to caching preferred selectors. So caching preferred selectors is great because they're already identified. So you could literally, when you could have it in your prompt, you could say something like, "Look, there's a prompt out there. There's a selection. of an element that's called number 2 or number 3. And next time when you scroll through, just be sure you pick that element. Um, yeah, that could be one of those things. But of course, the next thing is you can introduce memory mechanisms such as session-based memory, storing past selection in RAM, persistent storage, saving preferred patterns to a database, LLM feedback loops, asking an AI model to like GPT to refine selections based on past success. So that's very, very good. Like I'm gonna try to include those prompts for you to kind of do that and show you guys how you could distribute the workload across multiple Threads bots agents, so this way they could interface with one another and just do this accurately for you. So how selection works and improving accuracy. By default, AI agents scan the page for interactable elements, then use selector logic to choose the most relevant one. Clicks on interact with the chosen element, does not inherently remember. So by default, you guys see that it does not inherently remember past selections unless you specifically and explicitly program it. So how do you prove that? Introduce vector-based memory, store past UI interactions, and prioritize recurring elements. Use multi-pass scraping. First scrape everything, then apply ranking rules before selecting. Fine-tune element selection logic. Add custom selection rules based on a keyword engagement or metadata. And integrate reinforcement learning. Reward correct selections and adjust future choices dynamically. So to do this, um, like to do this reinforcement learning, what do we do? Well, we just need a basic UI user interface that shows the result from the Threads bot, and literally just shows you everything in a beautiful UI that literally shows you like button and dislike button, and it pops up, and you could say if it's good or not good, if the selection was good or not good, and not necessarily you. You could introduce this to other people who are part of your community who can be hitting those likes or not likes, or any other users who are using this interface to uh, kind of improve the bot over longer terms. So final thoughts to make browser selection more accurate and intelligent, you need to combine AI-driven scraping with the ranking mechanisms. The AI agent itself does not automatically improve unless you integrate memory reinforcement learning or LangChain-based reasoning. Would you like an example of a Python script that uses Playwright or browser use library with LangChain to improve selection? So yes, show me. Yes, show me that. And this is just, you don't really have to know Python, guys. This is just like to kind of better understand how to do this. Recharge battery. Are interested in training your model a bit more. So step one, first you have the necessary package installed. So you install you literally just type this command on your PowerShell. And after installing it, you need to install this necessary browser binaries. Okay, so there's a community so you basically just import all those libraries from community. And don't worry, guys, you don't have to literally even copy and paste any of this. You could just use Cursor AI to go ahead and do this for you. And we'll just run this and create this for you. And of course, if you guys have any questions, you could ask more in the community, Feudal Kingdom Academy, or how to do this. But like I said, you don't have to. You could have other side hustlers do the work for you. You as a business owner, the feudal lord, you don't really have to. But I'm just kind of quickly iterating through the stuff so you understand what your side hustlers can do for you. So this way you could tell them, okay, guys, this is my set of manual activities. I'm super tired. I want you guys to use this Threads Samurai skill set that you learned from Romwell's workshop to go ahead and implement reinforcement learning for my business, for my luxury brand business, where I'm constantly selling a bunch of products, but I want to increase my chances of selling more products. And this is what I have. This is tech stack that I have. I want to use Thread Stack to improve my digital marketing and use Threads Samurai and Threads Bots to go ahead to make my business grow faster and stronger. And they would know about it exactly what you're talking about because you um, and if they wouldn't know, then AI would know because everything is going into AI. But it's effectively, from your standpoint, you just have to know what exactly you're going to do. So there's important necessary libraries, modules. So we're setting up initializing Playwright browser and toolkit. Okay, so this is cool. This is then you're setting up you gotta have a key, API key, and then you set up creating an agent, and the agent is going to be executor is going to execute a bunch of tasks. So we define functions to scrape and analyze threads. So it will notice how it says it adds everything into an array, like analysis results, and it just kind of navigates through each thread. So it says it's not relevant thread for thread and threads. You don't have to know the specifics, but all it does is just it's going to iterate through a bunch of threads and find the title, URL, and do the analysis. So the execution function, this is just what it does. It basically come up with the results for title and URL and all that, and you already seen that in a bot. But the following this approach, you can effectively scrape and analyze threads based on specific keywords, enhancing the accuracy and relevance of your browser automation. So let's see. If I go here, so it says LangChain, Playwright browser. This toolkit is used to interact with the browser, while other tools like request tools are fine for static sites. Playwright browser toolkits let your agent navigate the web and interact with dynamically rendered sites. So like JavaScript, like any of those dynamic sites, like what Threads runs on. Some tools bundled with the Playwright browser toolkit include navigate tool, navigate back tool, click tool, extract hyperlink tools, get elements tool, purge page tool. So this is just a bunch of tools out there, a bunch of extensions, Chrome extensions that are just using the Playwright browser library. So, and this is what from LangChain, so community import Playwright browser. So this function to create a context and launch browser. So this one just launches browser, and it always recommends to instantiate using from browser method. So this is just a bunch of mumbo jumbo, guys, but all of this stuff over here is just you pop that into AI, into Cursor, and literally tell it to use LangChain to introduce this type of agent. So several of other browser tools are structured tools, meaning they expect multiple arguments. Those aren't compatible out of the box. Okay, that's cool. So here's entering, so API reference, and so entering new agent, LangChain. So it's thought I need to navigate to langchain.com to see the headers. Okay, so that's interesting. It shows the process of the thoughts, right? So the page has loaded. I can now extract the headers. So this LangChain, uh, I I need to navigate it to see the headers. So this type of stuff you have probably already seen in other tools like proxy tool. I showed you guys earlier how to use proxy to do that. And this is decentralized protocol, a protocol for decentralized translation. How it works, the problem, the solution, the key features, roadmap, etc., etc. Anyway, the bottom line is, guys, look, it may be overwhelming for you to fully understand what's going on without actually building those bots. In Feudal Kingdom Academy, you're going to get access to this, to the code that you could just run the command and it will just go on threads and it will get everything for you. So this way you don't have to think too much about this. But if you want to improve the selection process, if you wanted to improve your chances of your brand growing faster, then this is what you guys want to do. You want to be using reinforcement-based learning and the memory enhancement. And now I'm gonna see, by following the approach, you could do all this enhancing the accuracy and relevance of your browser. So this example assumes that each thread title and link can be extracted using the extract hyperlink tools. Depending on the website structure, you might need to adjust the extraction method of the specific CSS selector. The LLM function is used to process the thread content. You can customize this to perform specific analysis, such as summarization of sentiment analysis. And that's another thing, what we could do, introduce heuristic-based sentiment analysis on to kind of quickly give you context for what threads to click on and what not to click on, and then based on that data, uh, start doing things. But the idea here is you guys want to be doing this in a really kind of controlled environment. Otherwise, Meta can block you and ban your account if you don't do this correctly. So remember, if you're going to do this, do it with like another account. You could do it like with a secondary account, you know, or some other account where you're not going to lose risky your primary account. But I have two accounts, and there is no kind of um, there's no true cure for this at this point. So if you violate the guidelines of Meta, you could get banned, which is why you got to be more strategic in terms of scoping what the agent is supposed to do. You have to make the agent to be more human. You have to make the agent be more analytical in context of your brand to make sure that it doesn't just randomly start breaking things and spamming people and all of that. And those types of guardrails you can introduce with those agents. Anyway, guys, this is it for now. Hopefully you like this workshop. And if you guys want to learn more, go to my workshops. Definitely jump into my free workshop on bio.link. So if you go to bio.link, bio.link, and you go here and register for this free AI and automation workshop for how not to be a process prisoner. You click on that and you just say, I want to reserve a spot. You fill out the form and you're good to go. And then you can ask any other questions. And of course, we'll improve this bot a bit further to make sure that it chooses the correct selectors. And this way, every time you start this bot, it will pick the right selectors, but at the same time, it's not going to look like a bot because it's going to be somewhat human oriented. This way, it will minimize the chances of you getting banned. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. I'll see you next time.